Good morning. I am on a trip to the Carolinas where I will be hitting a bunch of different spots for fish and crayfish. So this is going to be a very fun trip for me. But I am stopping at one spot in Georgia to a watershed that I've never visited before, which is the Oconee River watershed. Now I have visited the Ocmulgee briefly, but the greater Altamaha River watershed is still very new to me. But I'm going to get to it and see what all I can turn up. Alright, and so this is the river that I'm at. It's not very accessible. This is actually the only place I was able to do some netting. But I did get a few cool finds, which I'll show you shortly. But this is a view of the habitat that I'm in. Alright, so the first fish that I got at this spot is one of my targets, which is the Turquoise Darter. I've been wanting to see the species for a while now, so this has been a long time coming, but glad to have finally been able to get to see it. And that's where they get their name from, is those turquoise fins right there. It's a little bit more vivid in life than it is picking up on camera, but it is still a pretty darter. And so, of course, there are also Westfall's darters here. Big surprise there. But yeah, these are super common darters. Alright, I'm gonna go let all these darters go now. And next up, I got a snail bullhead. Now I got these in the creeks by my house. And I also got the Westfall's darters in my local creeks. But so far, the turquoise darters have been the only new species for me here. But I don't see snail bullheads too terribly often. I mean, around my house is the only place I can reliably turn them up. So it's still cool to see them. They have some nice modeling and those really nice black-edged fins. But I'm gonna go ahead and let this guy go. Alright, letting the bullhead go now. Well, I'm in South Carolina now and I set a trap overnight, so I'm gonna check that now and see if I got any crayfish in it. Got some turtles. Well, I got a couple of these common musk turtles and a lot of shrimp, believe it or not, but no crayfish. There was also a bass in there. So I'm at a new spot and I didn't have any luck finding my target, which was the Cedar Creek crayfish. But these coastal plain creeks can be very hard to sample for crayfish. But in a lot of this muck and leaves, I got something really cool. And that is the Swampfish. But these are really cool fish. These are members of the cavefish family, and they are the only member of their family that are not strictly found in caves. And they're one of two members of the family that are found in epigean waters, the other being the spring cavefish, which can be found in creeks and caves, but is usually found in caves and springs. But super cool. It's really nice to be able to see these. These are really primitive fish. It's a really cool species, really boldly patterned, some nice stripes, and it really does resemble those cave fishes, except this is where they were found at, which is probably where the habitat their ancestors lived in before their relatives moved into caves. Really cool observation. I'm gonna go ahead and let these go. Alright, so here they go. Back where they were found. They were just in that muck right there and all those leaves. So the only crayfish I was able to get here is the eastern red swamp crayfish. I got a lot of juveniles, but the only adult I could get was this female. That's super common. There's the Nullus ventralis, how you can tell it's a female. Alright, so I am coming to you from North Carolina. I'm gonna be going to sleep in maybe 30 minutes or an hour, but before I do that, I'm gonna do a little exploring, walking around, see if I can find any snakes, salamanders, any other herps of note. But I've already turned up my first snake of the night, and that, believe it or not, this is actually my lifer brown water snake. There's the belly. Well, no sooner had I run that last clip that I got my next snake of the night. This is a banded water snake, southern water snake, banded water snake subspecies. But believe it or not, this is actually another lifer for me. I just don't see these southern water snakes at all because I don't visit the coastal plain all too much. But another species for the night. It's got a really nice belly. It does have a stub tail though. But I'm gonna get some quick photos and let the snake on its way. Well, I got the photos. The snake, or this banded water snake, wasn't as cooperative as the brown water snake. I guess it'll do. Now I'm just gonna go ahead and release the snake. There it goes. Guess it's just content to chill there. Well, you do you. I'll leave you alone now. Alright, so I'm gonna call it a night and get some rest. I did see another brown water snake, but it got away. So I was looking around for a little over an hour and saw 3 snakes, which wasn't too bad. It was nice getting those 2 water snakes that live over here that I haven't seen before, so that was nice. And I will catch you in the morning if I see anything notable. Well, I was just hiking this trail in North Carolina and came up upon this black racer. So that's pretty cool. I did walk up on another pair that were mating, but I didn't want to disturb them. So 3 black racers at this spot so far. There he goes. All right, so I changed things up. I was having no luck at all in the coastal plain. So now I'm in the upper coastal plain. I'm not near the coast anymore. And I have had some good luck at this spot, and I'll show you the fish here in a little bit. And I will be moving to the Piedmont and the mountains where I know I will have some luck finding stuff. But anyways, here are the finds from this spot. And so here we have the Pinewoods Darter, which is a cool narrow endemic to North Carolina. It's only found in the Little PD River system. And it's actually a sister species to the Savannah Darter and Okaloosa Darter. I mean, they're not outlandishly colorful, but they got that nice red band on the dorsal fin, and their caudal fin has some nice teal to it. So that's pretty cool. But yeah, Pinewoods Darters. Alright, I am releasing the Pinewoods Darters now. As far as crayfish go, I netted a lot of what I assume to be white river crayfish, Cambarus acutus, but they were all subadults, juveniles, so I didn't bother taking photos. I don't even know if I got any males. Not that it would have made a difference, they would have all been Form 2. But what's really cool at this spot is the Accumulant Crayfish. Now, this is a species complex where most of these species are still yet to be formally described. The actual Accumulant crayfish is limited to South Carolina, I believe, in just one watershed. So over here would be an unnamed species. And I've never seen this lavender color in photos online. So this might even be a species with a limited distribution. But she is in berry. You can see the eggs right there. But this is a very unique looking crayfish. But I'm gonna let her back and continue with the fish. Alright, so I got two species of mad toms at this creek. These are tadpole mad toms. If you notice how chubby, stocky they are, they get their name because of how chubby they are. They kind of resemble tadpoles. But this is a species that is new to me, which is surprising. They have a very wide range, and they can even be found not that far south of me. But this is the first time I've seen them. Tadpole mad toms. And the other species that I've found here is the margined mad tom. These live in a bunch of different drainages in the Atlantic coast, and they even range into eastern Georgia. But this is also the first time I've seen this species. But notice how much more slender this is compared to the tadpole mad toms from the previous clip. And their caudal tail is a little bit more straight, whereas the tadpole mad toms have a more rounded caudal fin. But margin mad tom. But I'm gonna go let these mad toms go. Alright, and so lastly we got tessellated darters. These are super common. However, this is actually only my second time seeing the species. They're more of a Atlantic drainages fish. They don't really range west like to the Chattahoochee or the Coosa Basin near me. But this is the last fish for this spot. Tessellated darters. And letting these guys go. Alright, so I am now in the Neuse River watershed. I only have a few minutes left of daylight, so I need to hurry up and take these photos. But I'm probably going to visit here first thing in the morning because I didn't get some of the species I wanted to get. So here are some of the finds that I got tonight. Alright, and so these are fantail darters. I didn't even know that they were in this watershed. Usually they're in like the Ohio River watershed, like the Tennessee River, Cumberland River. But we're in the Neuse River, in an Atlantic drainage. But no, these are actual fantail darters, not Carolina fantail darters. Learned something new. And so there's also margined mad toms at this spot too. So the last fish is something that's actually really cool. I thought these were lampreys when I netted them, but no, these are actually American eels. Usually I get lampreys, so it was a nice surprise to get an eel. I've actually never seen these before. But that's a good indicator that this river system probably does not have any dams, because these migrate from the ocean into freshwater. But I'm gonna go ahead and let these go. I let all the other fish go too, but I just did not have time to film that like I normally do. Alright, here's one last look at these eels before I let them go. So here is another brown water snake. No. But cool, another snake. Alright, so I'm back at this spot this morning. I didn't get the crayfish that I wanted to see last night. So I came back today, this morning, and I managed to get one female. There was also a fish I wanted to see here, the Carolina mad tom, but they're either not here anymore or they're just really hard to find. I know they've been extirpated from most of their range, at least in this watershed. And the tar pamlico, they're still kind of common. But they're not here anymore, or if they are, they're just really hard to find. But there's also no cyprinids here. There's no minnows, which is really concerning. So maybe the water quality is just really bad here. I mean, less than 10 years ago they were found here. And less than 10 years ago there was minnows that were found here. So that is kind of concerning. The darters are still very plentiful here. There's lots of Roanoke Darters and either Johnny or tessellated Darters. Alright, and so here is the variable crayfish, Cambarus latimanus. I have these back home, but this is my first from North Carolina. It's odd seeing these all the way over here 2 states away. But they're over here too. And this is a Form 2 male. The gonopods aren't really fully formed yet. You can go. All right, and so here's what I came here to see. This is the Carolina Spiny Crayfish. They do kind of resemble the Coosa River Spiny Crayfish close to home. Of course, this one is covered in silt, but the pattern is somewhat similar. They got that black dot at the base of the dactyl and those red tip claws. But this was the only one I was able to turn up. So this is a hard species to find. They're probably not necessarily rare, they're just usually in deeper waters. Well, I got a larger eel this time. This thing is a lot bigger than those juveniles from last night. That is a cool fish. The American eel. But really cool fish. I'm gonna go ahead and let it go now. Alright, so I'm now at the Dan River, which is a sub-drainage of the Roanoke River, and I found some cool fish here, so I'll go ahead and show you some of those. And so right here is a rose fin shiner. I believe they do get more colorful than this. I might have missed the season, but you can still see it has some red on its fins and on its nose. So first fish, rose fin shiner. And so here are some more Roanoke Darters. This is a gorgeous male. There's another male back there. There's a female. And another female back there. But I am a huge fan of these. These are brilliantly colored darters, especially for the genus Percina, which are usually more drab colored. Now these are very common. They're definitely the most common fish at this spot. And they were at that other spot in the Neuse River watershed. But I'm gonna go ahead and let these go now. And so these are Roanoke Hogsuckers. Northern Hogsuckers are here too, but they have a saddle on their nape, which these don't have. So these are Roanoke Hogsuckers. So now I've completed all 3 Hypentelium. So I got all hogsucker species now. But yeah, Roanoke Hogsuckers. Gonna let these go now. And so here's another margined Mad Tom. These seem to be the most common fish of this trout. But this one's a good size. I would say this is probably an adult. This is probably about as big as these catfish get. But here is my hand for scale. But yeah, I'd definitely say that is an adult. Really small catfish. And so here is the main thing I was hoping to find here. This is the Atlantic Slope Crayfish. And that is a Form 1 male. And here is a female, the one on the right. And she even has eggs. So those are full grown adults. That is a small species. It's a similar size to its sister species near me, the green saddle crayfish, which is also a small species. But they have that gap, and the claws, it's not that evident. And then here is another Accumulant crayfish. Again, this is a species complex, so this could be another species. But pretty cool. And there's that Form 1 male. So I'm not gonna have enough time to visit that last spot. I'll just come back on my next off days. So stay tuned for that video if you enjoy this kind of content. But I'm already gonna be getting back super late. It's like 5.5, 6 hour drive back home. I'm gonna be getting back at midnight, so it's gonna be rough, but hey, it was worth it. Got a lot of cool stuff on this trip. But thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in the next video.